Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Greetings, greetings. Mahaba, hola, mahaba. Greetings and salutations. Um, what I have behind me, this is from my husband's local, and it says, uh, domestic partnerships in New York are acknowledged by Steamfitters Local 638, but only under the specific guidelines out in your union's current collective bargaining agreement, which would mean that we would have had to become registered domestic partners. Now, I had mentioned that in, in one of my videos, probably several of my videos, how when, oh, first off, let me back it up. Good morning, greetings, hola, mahaba, keifu halak. I hope everyone is good today. I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. I hope you're hydrated. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um, if you open your eyes, it's a blessing. Many people did not. Uh, what I have here behind me, the image behind me, is, see, you could read it. I'll let you all see it. See that? Now, I had said in previous videos how when we talked about getting married, what happened was I was on a medical leave because my body basically broke down. My body was shutting down because of chronic anemia, chronic digestive issues, and then I had the incident where I was raped by a short arm little SOB from the NYPD, which they did nothing about, which is also I've spoken about. Karma comes back and bites people on the ass very hard. Anyway, so then I meet my husband, blah, blah, blah. And so I got the letter from Cobra that my benefits were going to stop and that I'd have to pay into Cobra. And I said, all right, well, whatever. My body has to heal because, like I said, my body just totally, um, so, and then I had said to my husband, joking, I said, well, no, not joking. I said, well, maybe we can become domestic partners. And he said, well, all right, I'll find out. Well, turns out that, yes, we could have become domestic partners. But you see, that was the beginning of his lies and his fairy tales. Um, I don't do shout outs. Do not ask me to do shout outs. You can add whatever commentary you choose to add. Okay? Anything ridiculous will be flagged and blocked by night guards. Okay? So anyway, I was on this leave, and I had said to when I found out that my benefits were going to stop, that I have to pay into Cobra, I said, well, maybe we could become domestic partners. And then he comes back and he tells me, oh, no, 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 the steam fitters won't allow that. Steam fitters won't accept that. Now, this was back in 2004. Now, this is 2026, 24 years later. And look at that, the light bulb just went off. Bing! So, what happened was, another one of his lies. Another one of his lies. Because yes, we could have become domestic partners, but he was thinking along the lines of getting a tax break as being married. You understand? So the lies started long before I ever met my husband. And I bring up these topics to forewarn women and men, but women, because we think so emotionally. Oh God! Like I said, when we met, I was like, oh, this is my happy ever after. La, da, 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 da. Oh, the picket fence. Maybe we'll even get a station wagon. The lies started from day one. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever you involve yourself with, whether it be on a personal, romantic, sexual, business, make sure you do a background check. Make sure you get all of their details, all their information. You understand me? Because now I happened to look this up. I thought about it last night, and I was like, I gotta look that up. Sure enough, baby, it's right there in black and white. So, I survived. I survived enormous amounts of manipulation, a lot of mental gymnastics. You understand? Since I'm a kid, because growing up in an environment that I grew up in, I had to fit in to sit in. You understand? I had to go along with hearing all kinds of white people. The derogatory comments about black people, about Latino people, about Asian people, about East Asian Indian people, okay? About Muslims. So, whoever, again, I'll say it again, whoever you decide to spend any of your time with, make sure you check them. But like I said, here I am, I'm surviving, I'm sharing my story, and I will continue to share it. So now, this clawback period, in order to retrieve property that was dispersed while I was freaking like so, my brain was inflamed. That rhymes, look at that. That just happens all the time. I'm a natural poet, I know it. My brain was inflamed with high levels of cortisol and stress and trauma. Okay, so, but anyway, besides all that, I'm still here. And this is all going to be presented to the courts. Now, what should happen across our wonderful APAC-infested governmental body, each and every state, when someone becomes widowed or widower, however you say that word, on the death certificate, have it in bold letters, in red bold letters, or highlighted orange and yellow letters. No assets are to be dispersed for 1 full year. So this way, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, how pitiful to do that. But you see what happens when you're not correct with people. Well, then your life falls into the sewer. You understand? See, now, I have been able to survive and strive and manage because of how I grew up. So the moral of my story and the moral of this video is to always guard yourself. Know who you are dealing with at all times. And you know what? When that little voice inside your head tells you something is not right, listen to that voice. Because what happens is when you're, I believe for any one of us who have had experienced trauma, and we all do. My trauma threshold has always been high because that's just genetically how I'm wired. But for other people, they could have a little minor infraction in their life and never recover and totally flip and totally go into like a tailspin. And, you can never make a judgment about someone and say, get over it. You don't know what is inside somebody's chemistry. See, not everybody's built like me, where I am like, well, I'm a hard ass. I've always been a hard ass. Not always, just life made me that way. But, The scams are out here, people. The scams are out here. And you could have scammers that you're married to, that you're dating, scammers in your family, people that want to take advantage of you for their convenience. You understand? So guard yourself. Always guard yourself. And if you come across a situation early on and you find out that the person that you're involved with, you thought that they were someone else, but you actually got the photocopy of the impersonator version. You got the photocopy of the impersonator version. Exit stage left. Exit stage left. Because when that starts, when that can of I call it, I wrote a poem, a thing that I wrote, emotional whoop ass. When that can of emotional whoop ass is opened, you're going to continually be caught in a cycle of someone lying to you, gaslighting you, then to say, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. You know? There's a word that they say in Italian, Gatsungu! Hold on. I gotta got to my caffeine. Oh, muscles. Yeah, I will strive and survive. That's right. But other than that, how's everybody doing today? How are you all doing? I hope you're all well. I hope you're safe. It's, well, it's not going to be a wonderful day in anybody's neighborhood nowadays with this current situation. Expect gasoline to be off the charts, people. Expect it to be off the charts, you know? Now let this be a lesson in civics, you know? Let this be a lesson in civics because we are so, we are not good. Yep. Yeah, I know. How about that? Yeah. How about that? You a card dealer? You want to play 3-card Monte? There you go. Knock yourself out. But yeah, people, just tread lightly with people. Tread lightly because they will smile in your face and stab you in the back. And while they're doing it, they're shaking your hand and maybe they're kissing you on the cheek. Maybe they're giving you a hug. They're giving you a hug, but then they got the one arm extended and it's going in the back to say, you know what? I'm gonna manipulate you and bend you and shape you like a piece of clay to how I want what I want. You understand? Yeah. But anyhow, that's how life goes. But guard yourself, people. Guard yourself. Be very cautious. The stuff that I've survived. Alhamdulillah, Rahman Rahim. Oh my God. But you know what it is? Here's how life goes. When you try to be deceptive with other people and you try to get over, and you do get over, your get over window is going to be, it might be open very, very big. It might be like a open large enough for like a 747 to go into. But as time goes by, that window is going to slowly close. And then the people or the person that you BS'd and you manipulated, well, they're going to finally come to the realization that you are full of caca. And, well, you have been full of caca since day one. They wake up. Trust me, you do it. We come out of the slumber. We do come out of the emotional slumber. So for anyone who is in a situation like what I'm speaking of, or have been in a situation like I'm speaking of, know that it will pass. And for the person who attempted to get over, or who did get over, they'll never have no peace. They will never have no peace, and they will live with their shortcomings, and it'll show up in so many other ways. So many other ways. Like my husband used to say, "Oh, this happened. Oh, I got bad luck." And I was like, "What are you talking about bad luck?" I said, this is life. Life happens, man. Life is going to shit on us 24/7. That's how it works out. None of us get a pass from being shit on. That's, unless you live in a bubble, a protective bubble, that's shit proof. But life isn't like that. Yeah. But anyway, what's the current price of gasoline right now? Let me see. I gotta see. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. This is inaccurate. They're higher now. They're higher now. Um, the reserves that we have are no longer going to be reserved, people. The reserves we have are no longer going to be reserved, because you have to remember, okay? Um, the straight, well, I can't say you have to remember. A lot of people do not know anything about global history and about global commerce. I learned about the Strait of Hormuz when I was 12 years old. And being a geek and just like a kid who was always into reading and, knowing about like stuff that was of interest, not little petty stuff like, how kids are. I was always ahead of my time. I really was. I was like 200 when I was only like 35. But everything that is imported here into America and across the globe comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So make America great again now, right, Donald? Yeah, people. Stock up on what you need. Stock up on your paper goods. Stock up on toilet paper. And on paper goods, I stopped using paper towels and napkins about 20 years ago. I would buy the cloth towels from the dollar store, buy like about 30 of them, and then that would be, or the microfibers, and then like paper plates. And I was like, I'm not spending my money on this shit. And and also too being conscious of the environment, because uh society today is filled with waste, and people don't think the way I think. And well, God bless you all. God bless all of y'all who don't. But the wake up call is happening, and that alarm is like a siren, red alert, military red alert. Because this is where we are. This is where we are. But anyway, everybody, I'll be back. Have a good day, and remember, make America great again. Oh God. My God. My God. You know, corporate media. Corporate media. Oh, did y'all hear about the news that a drone, listen to this, a drone landed in between a U.S. aircraft, and it landed right in between the U.S. aircraft. But I'm gonna explain something to you to show you how he's not making America great again. Well, here's how it goes. All right, here's how it goes. I used to have my little military, my little soldiers and stuff. Um, a massive drone the size of, say, let's say, like the Empire State Building, right? A massive, huge drone enters into a military airplane, right? The massive drone that is the size of the Empire State Building. It lands inside a military airplane that's the size of a kite. So now you tell me, is that factual? It's factual if you're imbibed, if you're on a controlled substance, then you'll find that factual. Wow, people. Wow. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Well, stay tight with the people who matter. Stay close with your family. If you have a family that you can work with, that works together with you, a lot of us don't have that. And, well, what are you going to do? Such is life, right? We're born into this world alone and we go out alone. So that's how life works out. But anyway, your corruption correspondent, Creative Talent Production. I will be back with more updates and further stories. Yes. Have a good one, everybody. I'll be back. Stay safe and well, stay hydrated, and always do the right thing because we're all being watched. Remember that. Oh, by the way, I am on Donald Trump's enemy list. Yes, I'm an enemy to Donald Trump. That means I won't be allowed to enter into Madison Square Garden. Not that I would spend my money to go to any of those venues because no, not at all. Not at all. And what's going to happen now globally, as what's been happening, any affiliation with the Geno Nation, people are no longer engaging. You understand? Cable networks people are no longer participating. It's going to come down to where we're gonna be back to preliminary basics of sustainability. Mark my words. Mark my words. Watch my videos. I always say stock up, stock up, stock up, stock up. Because as y'all see, they don't work for us. They work for APAC. They work for lobbyists to enhance their profitability and their longevity for their families. They do not GAF about us. They don't. I'll be back, everyone. Have a good one. Stay safe and well and hydrated. Remember, always do the right thing. See you later.